like that, it's a very difficult process for you to end up racist. Ohio was good for me like that. I think it's just a rarefied place if you're trying to be a creative.
Yeah. Hey, you ever been back, or do you go to Chappelle's spot? That's in Ohio.
My grandmother's spot took precedence over Chappelle's Farm, but because she stayed right outside UD Arena and Dayton. I was born in Cincinnati but raised in Dayton, but there aren't really any bad places of Ohio. It's a great state. It's got everything you could want.
Yes. Yeah. Now, what kind of stuff are you doing now? Where are you in your comedy progression?
Well, this is special number 12. So
Damn.
yeah, the baker's dozen,
Yes, sir.
just more than any comedian dead or alive. That's all. But who's counting stats and whatnot? But no, it's been this conversation since '95, and each special is just me picking up this conversation. So if I made a mistake in one, then 2 specials later, you'll see that I've changed my conversation about that particular thing because of growth. And the audience has allowed me just to continue this open dialogue. And now that we're getting to a space where free speech is under attack, and it's really the dark ages come back. It's just a privilege to have a job where you can talk for a living and share your thought process. So I'm really excited.
So let's talk about that area. I have been waiting to hear what you think about all the bullshit, and how we are under attack right now, and no one seems to give a fuck about us.
Well, I named it World War III 9.5 months ago. So that's before Russia and Ukraine. But if you've looked at enough history, you understand that everything works in a cycle. And so you don't have to wonder where things are going. You just have to figure out where you are in the cycle, and that cycle continues to replay itself. So for our group, we're just, my ancestors' original religion was math and science. So, trying to go back to the old religion and incorporate that in the conversation. I'm not going to probably be the greatest comedian once I'm gone, but I will be the one that had the most original conversation, just because not because of me, but because my fan base allows me to have that conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's a blessing to be able to be wrong, and to be able to make mistakes, and to be able to not have the right answers, and not have the press and marketing that guarantees success. There's something to be said about all that. And for me, like, I'm not in competition anywhere. Like, I'm really the guy that 6-year-old me was trying to be. Like, I've really nailed that. So, fortunately, I wasn't that specific. Just be successful and live. Yeah.
So I hit comedy clubs sometime, and I watch guys working on their next special,
Yeah.
getting their material right. I never see you in a club, but then you have an hour that's on fire. Do you work in your house? How do you get right?
Yeah, so I didn't get any shortcuts. So for the first 10, 15 years, I had to do what every stand-up has to do and go to the clubs and work out your material. But it got to the point where I'm asking other comedians to not do things that maybe they would want to do. So it's not really fair if I show you something and say, don't look at it. So I don't do any practicing in clubs. I do it all.
In arenas?
The level of trust is on Steph Curry. So if it doesn't mean that you make all of your shots, it means your intention is to make all of your shots. I'm not making this shot because I haven't made this shot before. I'm making this shot because I have made this shot before. So it's that trust and the trust of the audience, and we're in a relationship. So I don't have to go and see if we're still in a relationship and get it ready. I can organically trust that this is the conversation that we're having because we need to have it. So it's not always pleasant. Like, you know, I don't want to talk about race and politics and stuff, but that keeps happening, and it just keeps being presented in a new way. And so, you know, critical race theory wasn't a thing 10 years ago, but it is now. And overturning Roe versus Wade was unthinkable 20 years ago. And now it is upon us. So that always keeps a fresh dialogue with the people that I know that think how I think and are going through the things I'm going through. That's the sharing process. But
A lot of people don't give a fuck about Hollywood's trophies, or some people pretend they don't. Right. How do you feel about being an Emmy winner? And if you don't give a fuck, give her your trophy.
No, in all of my situations, I try to figure out what the black superhero would do, and then I try to get as close to that as I can. In the lane that I was going to go in comedically, which was one where I was going to expose the seedy underbelly of Satan's playground, I knew that going into that, I should not expect any awards or recognition. It wasn't going to be that. Like, I was really going to have to pat myself on the back and keep myself encouraged. And that I was happy with that part of it. But for the Emmy, that was really God's doing, and that was special on so many facets. Not just because it was an Emmy, but the Emmy is beautiful, and it was for a show called Atlanta, and then it was so a powerful city, and then you have, you know, the GOAT Glover and the whole production there, and the fact that my character wasn't telling any jokes or doing any dance. He was really exposing a piece of his soul. And so the fact that that's what I got it for, I'm forever grateful for that. So I'm gonna follow it up with a couple Grammys this year just because not facetiously, but I was in this toxic relationship with this group that was my group, and so I did 65 projects and they never submitted me once. And so that Emmy was the first time I had been submitted my whole career, blocked by my own people. Wow. So the fact that...
And Donald made sure you were in the mix for this. That's why you call him GOAT Glover?
He was that as Childish Gambino.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How did you meet him, and how did the whole thing come about? How would someone find you? Speaking of which, you changed your number. I bring my phone after this interview. He changed his number.
No, I used to go to jail a lot, and every time I went to jail, every time I went to jail, it was a new phone. So, yeah. Now I've had one phone for almost 5 years. Feels foreign.
Yes! That's my 22-year-old right there. I have an empty nest now. You have a lot more kids than me.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't.
Expound.
I'm an empty nester as well. Everybody's grown. I got the last graduation I'm going to, May 12th, and then bam, everyone's of age. So yeah, congratulations on that. Yeah, yeah, and I got 3 grandbabies.
Wow, that's cool.
So
that's cool.
Hard to have a rough life like that.
Absolutely, man. Okay, so we told them when the special is on.
Yes, we did.
And I don't think there's anything else we have to talk about. We could have fun. Hey, do you all know? Do you all know that one of the best freestylers, comedy or hip hop, is sitting to my left? Now wait a minute.
I don't care if you clap, it don't matter. No.
But there's something you have to understand. Freestyle is a lot of work, and a lot of people, unless you got swag in a hat sitting in front of you, they don't really want to fuck with freestyle. But I just wanted y'all to know there's nothing like the mind of Katt. Did you want to rap at any time? Because you do that so well. You know, when you came up before comedy, maybe?
I tried it for about 5 years with an unlimited budget after having started it when I was 13. So I met Prince when I was 12.
Where did you meet Prince when you were 12?
In Dayton. After
Really?
he performed at UD Arena. Yeah, I mean, I knew him my whole life. He was like the guiding force for me. It's the reason I had high self-esteem was because of him. Like, just a lot of things that I didn't...
Did he say something, or was his behavior inspiring and self-esteem shedding?
No, he wasn't really like that. He was a high thinker and a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve was. And, you know, when you play 26, 28 instruments, it means that you are able to be multifaceted while also focusing on each thing like it's the only thing, which is a hard skill. But he let me know that you could be short and light-skinned with long hair, and people could make fun of you, but as long as women loved you, you had nothing to fear.
That's a good place to end. How is your love life?
Magnificent. Magnificent.
Are you engaged? Are you just in love? Or what's the status?
I am completely engaged with being in love with. Yeah, I'm a like I don't know. I don't want to get personal, but if anybody in the audience has ever loved their mother and loved somebody else, that's two loves. And so as long as you understand that you're capable of having two loves, then.
So there's a second woman in your life who's older? No, I don't know. That you call mom?
No.
Fuck mom last night.
No. I wasn't making an announcement.
Yeah. Who's your stylist? You always look good.
Thank you.
And this don't come from Nordstrom. You know, how does it all happen? Do you lead it, or do you just walk in and put on what she brings or he brings? How does that all go down? You don't even wear your watch on. You actually have two watches. Yeah. There's a genius behind this shit somewhere.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, yeah, everything is a village, of course. But I haven't had a stylist my entire career, just because when I was young, one of the jobs that I had was at this cleaning service in a very ritzy place called Nob Hill in San Francisco. And so I was able to clean the homes of these billionaire people. And so I was able to study in their closet the reason why my white dress shirt cost $9 and why this one cost $209, and how could that make sense, and why were these shoes this much, and how could you justify that? And it really gave me a good sense of the worth of things and quality and what that really means in the retail space. So when it came to dressing myself, I was able to do that because I had spent time in the GQ magazines and the Rob reports every week just looking at wonderfully dressed people, understanding that one day I should be in that position. And so I have a nice lady over at Woke Folk, Dalitha Clayton, who goes and gets the things that I see and then just able to put it together. Because, you know, I'm 5'5". Like, once you understand you're not going to be cute, then you can just be fly.
How about a Katt line of men's clothes so we can have those shoes and you can make the money? Would you ever, like Kanye has clothes, would you ever have Katt clothes?
The thing about me that I guess is weird is that I'm really not my biggest fan. Like I don't think there's something about me that means that people should dress like me because I have no. I do well for myself, and I count on people in the fashion industry the same as everybody else. But just understand that in fashion, none of it's new, and it's all that cycle that we were talking about anyway, so it's easy to catch it. You just find out last year, were they on 1986? Well, then next year, they'll be on 1987. Yeah, and right, because I'm saying if you're a man, for how long have men been wearing pants and shirts? There's been no innovation. We can pretend. Yeah.
Since Moses stopped wearing that robe, we've been doing slacks ever since.
Right.
Yeah. Well, unless you're gonna freestyle a bar, I guess this is.
I just didn't get a beat, number one, and number two, you did that to me last time.
Yes,
and that's why they ripped the show from us. I ruined it.
No.
We're such big fans of yours, and I want you to know that the imprint that you've had on the culture, like I know you probably don't get it because you think I just host the show, but it's not like that. Like, you don't have any predecessors, you don't have any peers, you don't have any other black guy who ever touched the consciousness of both ends to be able to, that's on the talk side of things. The fact that you've been a decent person as long as anybody has ever heard of you, and nobody's ever been embarrassed by your work or your presence, or it's just an honor. I felt that way about Larry King as well. You know, like I don't have the desire to be asked questions by random people. You know what I mean? Like I don't. Like I really have to respect you, you know, because it's a relationship, and that's what makes great television. And so you are missed in the space, and Netflix is genius for having you.
Thank you, Doc. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Katt Williams. Thank you, man.